Mitchell A. Orenstein's The Lands in Between, Russia versus the West, and the New Politics of Hybrid War. As the name of this book suggests, The Lands in Between is supposed to be about the countries in between the West and Russia. Certainly, this is part of Mitchell Orenstein's subject, but as the subtitle also suggests, Mitchell Orenstein's book is also about Russia's attack on the West using hybrid war. This tends to be a major focus, whether the countries in question are considered between or not. This includes countries like Germany. But the description of hybrid war is also part of the book. One example is the use of hackers when the Russian government hacked Ukraine's infrastructure in 2016, or the 2016 U.S. election. According to Orenstein, when Russia spied on the Democrat National Committee, they infiltrated enough voting machines that they could have altered the results. A 2018 Department of Homeland Security (DHS) report revealed that hackers linked to the Russian government had penetrated the computer network of numerous U.S. electric utilities. The report noted that the attackers reached the point where they could have thrown switches to disrupt the power, even though they didn't actually take that final step. Orenstein also points out that Russia was attacking the West with its hybrid attack using disinformation, fake news, lies, or whatever you want to call them. One such example is a story about a fake explosion in Louisiana. But more importantly, as a result of Russian disinformation, many were falsely persuaded by Russian propaganda suggesting that the Russian attack on the country of Georgia was actually defensive, not mentioning that it was South Ossetians who attacked Georgian villages at Russia's command, even bombing Georgian cities in South Ossetia. See, what Russia does is it often, by disseminating fake news stories and Twitter bots, it tries to create confusion. This problem goes beyond just fake news and involves sometimes even true information that was acquired illegitimately. Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, for example, was actually paid by the Russian Federation in order to leak certain information. He was on Russia's payroll. In another book that I read, it mentioned that that there was clear information. It was clear that the information Assange was leaking was information that the leak of information benefited Putin specifically. So, for example, while both the DNC and the GOP were hacked, the leaked information was specifically tainted so as to damage Hillary Clinton's campaign. As opposed to it being a bipartisan information link. This was clear when Assange revealed that Clinton was actually spying on Bernie Sanders' campaign. But this information was leaked in a way so as to damage Clinton's campaign as opposed to just revealing information. And this is sort of where the Russian collusion conspiracy comes from. We do have knowledge that Russia was involved in the 2016 election and was actively trying to persuade the results in one direction, including a hacking of the DNC. Furthermore, there's also this issue of covert meddling in political movements and parties. Individuals who are involved in Western politics, like Nigel Farage, are sometimes paid commentators for Russia Today. Extreme parties like Greece's Golden Gate or Marine Le Pen's National Front all have ties and connections to the Russian Federation. Even parties that are less extreme or far left but challenge the establishment, like Jill Stein's Green Party or Gary Johnson's Libertarian Party, often end up embracing pro-Russian anti-Ukrainian positions. So we see plenty of examples of the kind of tugging Russia does across the West, whether it's in the US or Europe. According to Orenstein, the parties, countries, regimes, and groups who play both sides, that is, both the West and Russia, often end up winning in the short term. They have the advantage of being able to trade with both countries, with the West being fairly non-confrontational, with countries that choose to trade with Russia. But this was the case in 2019 when this book was written. And even at that time, Orenstein still considered this dangerous as it could lead to countries becoming battle sites for espionage, soft power, disinformation, active measures, and propaganda. Take, for instance, Montenegro. In the end, Montenegro joined NATO, but had to fight Russian interests in order to do such. And much more recently, we've seen this kind of fighting in Moldova. From these kinds of Russian attacks, we can learn something. We know, for instance, attackers Western institutions like NATO or the EU. We know, let me rephrase that. We know from these kinds of attacks that Russia attacks Western institutions like NATO or the EU, not because they're weak, but rather because they are strong. Putin wasn't threatened by Western influence. He was not challenged by it. If he was not threatened by Western influence, or if he didn't feel intimidated by it, he wouldn't challenge it. Whatever Western critics may say about the U.S., we also see the clear willingness and extent that Russia embraces uh, its own interference in countries abroad. And this is only so much more pronounced today with the full-scale invasion. In any case, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. This is just my take on Mitchell Orenstein's The Lands in Between.